Is there a definitive way of determining whether a girl or a group of girls or women is being sexualized or not? It's a very interesting question, and I will attempt to answer it. I don't know if it's going to satisfy you, but here you go. I guess it all boils down to the fact that what's sexual to me may not be sexual to you. So it's really a very, very subjective way of looking at it, and we can actually end the discussion there and say, there really is no way for us to determine definitively, like an objective way, on whether or not somebody is being sexualized or not. For example, hip grinding for me in a dance move is very sexual. But then ask like maybe a 5-year-old, and that would be just dance step for that person, for that kid. And so that's a perfect example on how subjective it is, because we're in different points in our lives. I'm associating that dance move, that specific move, to sex, and that person isn't. The other person isn't. But then there's, I guess, other factors that come into play. For example, the gender of the person doing it and the actual person that's doing it. I would say that if you're asking the girl to wear micro mini skirts and bra during a dance move, that's very, very sexual for me. But then I watch Beyonce wearing barely nothing in the video, and it's not sexual for me. It's very, very powerful. Single ladies, and it's not sexual for me. It's a very, very powerful dance routine for me, and that entire video is very powerful for me, but that's not sexual. So I guess it's also other things come into play. It's not just how I associate certain dance moves to a sexual act, but it also depends on the person. It also depends on the gender of the person. If a girl during a dance move spreads her legs, sits crouched down and spreads her legs, that's a very sexual move for me. But then a guy does it and it's very powerful for me. So that's my stereotype, though. Whether or not it is right is an entirely different discussion altogether. But it only drives home the point that being sexualizing somebody, determining whether somebody is being sexualized or not, is almost impossible to do. There is, however, the other aspect of it, which is the fact that a girl should be given the right to do, not given, but a girl has the right to do whatever they want to do, wear whatever it is that they want to wear, and it doesn't give another person any permission to put their hands on the girl's body without their permission. Now, how or what the other person, the person that's seeing that action, will do with that information when nobody's looking, we don't have any control over that. If it is the girl's decision to wear it because she wants to wear it, it doesn't necessarily mean she's sexualizing herself. If it is being forced upon her, then that's basically an entirely different discussion altogether. Now, does it boil down to the intention of the director, or the manager, or the agent, or whoever is in charge in that moment when that actress or group of girls did that dance routine or did that action during a photo shoot or a movie or whatever? The intention is so hard to prove. It's even in the court of law, intention, the motive is always the hardest to prove, because we don't know what is going on in the mind of the other person. However, the one thing that always makes a difference for me, at least, is the creative message. I've always mentioned this, but there are two schools of thought when it comes to art. There's the art for art's sake and art for an intention. Art for art's sake means it just says that art's objective and the measure it should be measured upon is dependent upon itself. It should not serve any purpose but art itself. If I create a nude painting of a woman, it doesn't mean anything but a nude painting of a woman, and you should judge the beauty of that art by itself. Did I execute this beautifully? Maybe a nude painting of a woman is too subdued, but maybe if I draw two guys and a woman having sex, for example, if I draw that, moralists should not have any say in how beautiful the painting is, or the quality of my art, because art has no morality and it's just supposed to serve itself. So if I draw three people having a threesome, then that should be judged by the standards of art, how beautiful the color is, or whatever it is, but but the strokes or my technique, but the moral message of my painting shouldn't come into play. Basically, that's what it means. So the other is that art should serve a purpose. So if, for me, I do respect the art for art's sake thinking, the school of thought. I respect that, and to a certain extent I do practice it. Like, yeah, I practice it to a certain extent, but in general I do understand that maybe it's also cultural. I do understand that everything we do affects other people, and so the same way the things that other people are doing affects me. And so I think that art should have a purpose. It should have a purpose. For me to determine whether somebody, a girl, or a group of girls is being sexualized or not, one way for me to determine it is the intention of the art, or the message, the creative message of that art, whether it's a movie or a dress or a song. If it's a movie and I see a sex scene, and this movie is about the struggles or the experiences of a girl that has gone through rape or whatever, then that scene, that sexual act, showing the sexual act, is justified for me, and that doesn't mean for me that she's being sexualized. The same thing goes with songs. If I hear a song, if I see a video and I understand that there is a specific message that they're trying to deliver, then it could play a part in my determination whether the girl is being sexualized or not. I guess one example would be Mamamoo does this a lot. They dress up very, very, their clothes, their costumes, especially Wasa, it's very sexy. But I hear the message of her song, especially Maria, for example. I hear the message of the song. It's not. It's not sexual, and so the whatever it is that I'm seeing, I don't care. If I see your cleavage, whatever, your breasts in its full glory, I don't care, because I know what it is that you're trying to say, and I don't find it sexual at all. And so that one thing makes a difference for me, the creative message. And so, is there a girl band in Korea right now that's not being sexualized? There is. My list is by no means an objective list. It's very subjective, and it's based on my own stereotypes, my own stupidity, whatever it is that you call it, but it is my list and not necessarily an objective one. I would say Mamamoo is number one. They have always exerted and exercised creative power over their own music, their own creatives. They have, even their own management company admits to it. And so whatever it is that they're using or saying or doing, that is their choice and not something that is shoved down their throat. And even the message of their music, they've always been very powerful. They've always been about power, how you can take control over your own life, how you're enough, how to defy expectations and go for what you want. And that's something that I think is powerful, something that we need as women. We need to hear as women as often as we could. And then there's itzy. I think itzy is vocally, Mamamoo is the best, I think, in the girl group category. Overall performance, I would consider itzy. Their performances are just powerful. I mean, even their dance steps. There are some very sexy moves in there, but most of the time, their choreography is meant for human, not just girls being sexualized, if you know what I mean. Someone, this is funny, someone actually asked me, do I consider itzy to be the female version of BTS? And I was so offended by it. I love BTS, I love BTS, but itzy is itzy and BTS is BTS. Itzy is not the female version of BTS. Itzy is the itzy version of itzy. They don't have to be a female version of anybody. They are themselves. And the same way for BTS, there can never be another version of BTS in whatever shape or form. So let's respect that. They are great performers, and I would say at this moment I would consider them to be the best girl group in terms of performance. and I like their songs too. Yeah, even the songs is quality songs. From other countries, dolla, I really love them. Like, they're like itzy for me. Most of their dances, they have some very, very sexy moves, but most of the time it's all about power, and it's a dance routine designed for humans, not just women that are being sexualized. Defam has always been very, very classy for me. They are the number one when it comes to girl power in Malaysia, and I think, yeah, in most of Asia, they were actually the first ones to deliver that message. Huge respect for them. Baby metal, obviously, for obvious reasons. They don't, dress up provocatively. It's all about music for them. It's all about performance. So I think that's 5, right? Yeah. So those are the 5 that I would consider. Girl groups, 5 girl groups that I don't consider to be sexualized. And I don't know if you agree or not, but that's my list. Thank you.